Alright, welcome back to Level Up with Mitz. Today we are going to take a look at two amazing pieces of technology. These are made by Towa Tools. First we're going to take a look at the PDM, which is their Power Distribution Manager, shown here. This device can charge multiple loads on one circuit. We'll get into it, it's awesome. Then we'll take a look at their 1800 watt BPS, their battery power station, shown here. This is a feature-rich battery power station that you can put to use in almost any scenario. There are a ton of uses for these products, from home to office, for landscapers to general contractors, so I think everybody will find something in this video that they like. In this video we're going to cover a lot, so what I'll do is I'll list all the chapters and timestamps so it's easy for you to jump around. As always, I'll link to everything in the description I talk about. And if you can, hit that subscribe button. It really does help out the channel and allow us to show you more cool products like this. Alright, let's get into it. This is Towa Tools PDM, their Power Distribution Manager. While it may look like a surge protector, well, that's kind of like calling the Mars rover a golf cart. It's not the same. This device is designed by Towa Tools and it has a proprietary technology built into it, basically enabling it to charge multiple loads safely and effectively. With load sensing technology built into the PDM, it will automatically switch power from charge unit to charge unit without having to worry about it. There's no more manually unplugging and plugging batteries just to get a full charge and be ready for the next day. Think about this. You're a landscaper, you're a general contractor. Everything you do is starting to depend heavily on batteries. You have to figure out how to keep them charged so you don't lose time during your workday. Well, don't spend money on multiple 20 amp circuits or trying to find as many outlets as you can on a job site. Put this PDM to work. Find one 20 amp outlet, plug it in, and you can charge everything you need on the job site and have it ready. So let's head to the garage and I'll show you what I mean. I have all my bass boat batteries and multiple chargers all ready. So let's dive into the test. 36 volt 100 amp hour lithium battery with a 15 amp charger, 12 volt lithium battery with the 15 amp charger, 12 volt battery which is a dual purpose deep cycle and cranking lithium battery, 20 amp charger, and 4 12 volt Optima batteries being charged by this 10 amp charger. So we are going to plug this PDM into one dedicated 20 amp outlet and charge all of these, and I'll show you that process. So here is kind of where everything happens. As soon as you plug in the PDM to the dedicated 20 amp outlet, you'll see status lights on the front. These 4 status lights do a check on each port as it powers on to make sure they are ready to supply a charge to whatever you're working on. I'm going to power on the batteries. They all have a BMS. Once they are powered on, they're able to accept the charge. So all of those are on. Obviously the old AGMs we don't have to do anything with. We're going to go right down the row with the chargers. This is the first set. As soon as you plug it in, what you'll notice is you'll start to get a digital readout for the amps that are getting pulled by each setup. Next is the 20 amp. And again, it'll start to register the pull. Then a 15 amp. And finally, the last 15 amp. As each one of these gets plugged in, you'll notice the amperage rise. The lithium batteries all have stabilization built into them, so they'll typically charge to about 80% and then slow down, speed up, and kind of the drop. Interestingly enough, that the proprietary technology in this PDM will pick up on what batteries are at what state of charge. So if you have 3 batteries that are at 80%, they can reduce their footprint in the amperage, and now it'll increase the charge to batteries that are catching up. That's extremely valuable when you have a battery array or a series of batteries that you're trying to charge. You have them all set up overnight, It's going to make sure it gets through that whole series and have them charged ready for you to go. The next piece to the PDM, which I'll talk about, is I often say a dedicated 20 amp breaker or 20 amp circuit. That's extremely important because if you have other devices on that circuit, whether it's another outlet somewhere else, you would actually change the safety precautions that this PDM takes because it's not factoring in those other outlets. 15 amp outlets you can actually convert the PDM to utilize. So where this will save you a ton of money is you don't need a workshop with 10 different 20 amp breakers, or you don't need a construction site with 17 outlets to charge all your power tools. All you need is that single dedicated outlet. You're also able to scale this unit up. They have mounting brackets, which I'll show you, that you can stack 4 of these. So now picture this, you're on a construction site, you really only have one dedicated circuit coming from somewhere. You can charge all the tools for the entire job site in one location and know that they're backed behind the protections of the PDM. The other great thing is, if you have a runaway battery, or if you have something that's going on one of the breakers that isn't right, that this picks up on, it'll shut that port off, protecting your investment and protecting the products behind that outlet. What I'm going to show you next is we're going to take off one of these chargers. I'm going to use a heat gun to get that amperage up over what it should be, and we're going to see if we can get that port to drop off. Okay, let's talk about safety and fault protection. What I'm going to do is, the first battery array is fully charged. I unplugged it. I'm going to plug in 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to plug in a heat gun. I want to show you what happens when amperage exceeds what it should. So we're plugging in the first dual purpose battery. That kicks on. Next, is the 100 amp hour 12 volt. That should kick on. Finally is the 36 volt. That should kick on. Now all the amperage is increasing to accommodate the chargers. Now we're going to plug in a heat gun. This should spike the amperage, and we're going to see how it handles it. Plugging this into port 4. So as you can see, all the ports are active and it's drawing what it needs to. We're going to take the heat gun and we're going to start on the low setting. The amps immediately increase to 16. So it is at its threshold. It is staying right where it should. If this heat gun goes to level 2, it's going to spike that threshold. Immediately, it shut off the port, saved everything behind it, prevented the breaker from going, and dropped the amperage right down to a safe level. That's the safety protection fault of this PDM. While I was in the garage, I missed one key feature. I tried to capture it on video and it didn't quite work, so I actually borrowed some footage from Towa's website. And what this footage shows you is exactly my setup, which is unique. It shows 4 ports have a status of active. That's great. Ports 1, 2, and 3 are currently running and pulling an amperage. If you watch, they're going to do the same. They're going to plug a load on 4, will spike the amps, and drop out port 4. It actually turns the status off. The key piece that I could not show, and this does, is next. Port 2 finishes charging. The internal proprietary software picks up on the fact that now it can switch port 4 back on and continuing charging. This was such a key feature of their proprietary software. I wanted to make sure I highlight it, and it really is what sets this device out from the rest. Now we can dive into the battery power station. Once this unit's powered up, you'll notice it has the 4 outlets in the front for 1800 watts. There's an AC on. Once that is powered on, the outlets are active. Just above, we have a USB-C 100 watt, a second USB-C 100 watt, a USB-A 18 watt, a USB-A second 18 watt, And then we have a USB-A 12 watt and a USB-A 12 watt. That's a ton of power on the front of this device. You'll be able to charge just about every device you can think of. But here's where we're gonna get a little interesting. You do not have an outlet available. You can take your PDM and you can plug it in to your battery power station. So now, plugged into your battery power station, you can repeat the same process. Charger number 1, charger number 2, charger number 3, charger number 4. You are now charging off of your main battery. You don't have to worry about a 20 amp outlet. That is extremely valuable. Again, you're working out of a contract trailer, you're working out of a landscaping trailer, you're at a remote cabin hunting and fishing, you're doing all this stuff. You're now charging 14 amps pulling from your main battery, and you can get a digital readout for what you're using for power. That is extremely versatile. Again, this is the 1800 watt, and I'll show you on the screen their larger units and the add-ons. This guy on top, the PDM, you can see it's actually pulling 14 amps, and all the ports are active. The second point would be that as ports drop off because they are charged, you're going to save battery life down here, allowing you to charge more devices. It's not going to keep that port active, drawing and drawing and drawing your charge, wasting your battery. You'll be able to charge more devices. So as you can see, there's just a ton of flexibility with the PDM and the BPS from Towa Tools. I didn't even scratch the surface on the battery power station. This is the 1800 watt. There's also a 3000 watt. There are expansion packs. There are solar charging capabilities. It's almost endless how many options you have for this guy. We will 100% do another video. Definitely subscribe, hit that notification button, and you'll get the next video as soon as that video comes out. I appreciate you watching. It's Level Up with Mitz. Like, comment, subscribe. Visit Towa Tools Industries or towatools.com, and you'll be amazed at what they have. So it's not the last we've heard from them. They'll be on the channel more. Appreciate you watching. Have a great day.